My wonderful, beautiful, amazing Aquarius. I'm Gabriella from Gabriella's Vampire Tarot, and for this evening, I'm going to be doing your general love reading, your 5-card spread. But before I do that, I want to offer these 24 red roses as a token of my love and appreciation for your love, support, and devotion towards my channel, and thank you so much for joining me in this beautiful evening as well. So this 5-card love reading includes where the first card represents you, the second the other person, the third the relationship, fourth the past, fifth the future. Then I'm going to draw a Vampire Oracle for you, and then a Favole and one card from the French Tarot deck of Le Tarot Interdit Vampiria. Well, let's get started with card number 1 for you, and you get Hermit, Virgo energy. Okay. I feel like that for the single ones, especially that this is focused on single, but you could always be in a relationship and always needing to do a bit of introspection, go within, and need some personal alone time. Yeah, I mean, I feel like especially for the single ones in today's reading is that you're pretty much kind of pondering maybe, all kinds of areas, including love, and maybe, you're kind of going in within to see what you can do to get out of love, or maybe, how you can approach love, or maybe been through a divorce or a breakup and now you're kind of processing it all, kind of going in within and stuff like that. I mean, yeah, the Hermit is an interesting card. It is a major arcana because the thing is, it's like, it's always good to have personal me time. Even if you're in a beautiful long-term committed relationship, having personal you time is always good because, it's like you don't have to be waiting upon other people because, if you have like free will and stuff like that, you shouldn't always constantly be together for like practically 24 hours a day because otherwise the whole connection might wear off and stuff like that. Sometimes it's good just to kind of maybe go to the gym, maybe have a personal nature walk, or maybe even do whatever it is because usually, it's like a distance makes the heart grow fonder and stuff like that. So if you want to kind of keep something a bit more alive, sometimes always taking distance, hanging out with your friends, maybe retreating back to your home base of your elders and siblings can always be a very good thing. Yeah, if you realize that the relationship is very strong, right? So, but who's the other person or what it could be? Prince of Knives, also known as Knight of Swords. Now it could be, it's like, okay, so let's look at the at Aquarius for a moment because this is also one of your beautiful cards. The thing is I kind of sense how you have this internal struggle. On one side you're going in within, but on the other side you have this inspiration and motivation to want to approach somebody. You want to get out into this world, and maybe that's what you're doing as the Hermit. Is you're kind of going in maybe you're in a singlehood position where you're just thinking, okay, like, how am I supposed to go about this and stuff like that? Maybe you're trying to look online. Maybe you're trying to ask other people for advice and guidance and stuff like that. But I feel like that there's so much motivation and determination to want to head off towards something. But mind you, about the Knight of Swords is it's kind of like a hasty card. It's like, you have this real strong need and, this need to want to be with somebody, to get out into this world, courtship, marriage, what have you, and stuff like that. And maybe that's why you're just kind of going in within, kind of processing it and stuff like that. But it could also be how you're just kind of, on a different note, it could be that you both kind of split up. You're going this way, the other person is going that way. But it could also be how you both are just also taking a break from each other, but maybe you guys are also kind of just, keeping, also, distance, you love each other, your bond is very strong and stuff like that, but sometimes, the other person could hang out with his or her friends, and maybe you're hanging out with other people as well. So, and that's kind of what I see is, as long as you pretty much realize that that you both, love each other, and that you guys could still sometimes take, breaks from each other and stuff like that, and always return home. Because a relationship, you get the Queen of Swords, another one of your beautiful cards, because it's like this relationship is practically planned. But whatever, anything, can be planned from a courtship, dating, to approaching somebody, to even instigating a breakup or divorce as well. Because the Queen of Swords also has a certain idea of thinking, we're going to go down this way. And since you are a fixed sign, it's like your mind's practically already made up. If you want to head off towards somebody, that's what you're going to do. If you want to walk away from somebody, that's what you're going to do as well. It's not like you just think, oh yeah, but of course to each their own. You don't always have to be following according to your sun signs in other ways. But that's kind of what this card has. Because in the past, there was Nine of Girls, fulfillment. So once upon a time, you both fell in love, everything just worked out fine, and now you're pretty much in a position of either wondering, where this relationship is going to be heading off towards in other ways. I mean, maybe you have been, through a breakup and divorce. Maybe the other person ran off, and maybe you ran off, or both of you guys just ran off in opposite directions, even though it started off in a very beautiful, loving, and that's usually the deep and sad truth about many relationships, is it often starts in a very beautiful, connection, whether it's Two of Cups, lovers, what have you, fulfillment and happiness, and then as the time goes on and stuff like that, then you just don't know which direction it's really going to go off towards, unless you pretty much already have good insight with your senses and intuition that are pretty much guiding you. Because in the future, you get Eight of Grails, so I'm kind of worried about this relationship. But of course, silver lining positivity, where something is meant to break, so then, you can pretty much regain your sense of freedom again. Maybe you are planning some, kind of divorce or breakup, but there's something, it's like, I'm either you or the other person is going to walk away from this relationship, I'm afraid of. But I feel like, if you can try to maybe mend something and maybe try to reminds you of both of you, and in the sense of thinking, well, didn't we love each other? Remember how we went out on these courtship dates, blah, 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 and stuff like that. I mean, the other person being the Knight of Swords could be a fellow air sign, maybe another Aquarius, Gemini, or Libra, but this person also has, like, maybe, this motivation to want to get out as well. Because Oracle says hope, anticipation, bright prospects, and wish. So I think this is practically the best antidote I could even give so far, because being hopeful and keeping the faith are actually two key terms to actually keep going in whichever direction it's going to be leading you or guiding you towards. If you're hoping to mend this relationship, I would do whatever it takes to keep you both together. But if you're just pretty much hoping for, some positive, divorce or something, or breakup, do whatever it takes and stuff like that. But I just always think, whatever bright prospects or wish. I mean, if you're trying to bring back the Nine of Cups moment in your life, I would definitely try to do so. But if you're in a singlehood where you pretty much, are going in within, or you're kind of in hermit mode, you have this need and desire to want to get out to meet somebody, you are planning something, even though you do have a sense of fulfillment in your past, I do see you also heading out towards, also, some form of relationship, but try to keep the bright prospects and hope and wish fulfillment, because the Star card is technically your card. So Favole wants to continue with, the Devil. Oh my goodness, Capricorn, one of your neighboring signs. So the Devil is kind of a bit of a glitchy case, because maybe you want to leave the situation because you realize that the Devil is going to kind of, put his or her or its talents on you and pretty much keep you confined. But it could also be, if you're worried about, any kind of like relationship prospects and stuff like that, because that's what it says, bright prospects, is that maybe you're kind of going in within because you're worried about the Devil in the future. You do have this need and desire and stuff like that. You're planning something. But I just wonder, it's like, if you rush too quickly towards, getting to know somebody, it could potentially turn into a Devil situation, but it could also be on a positive silver lining note in the form of forbidden fruit or eroticism as well. But I feel like, it's like, I would just try to remain hopeful, but if you pretty much have this real intense desire, because the thing is, on a negative note regarding the Knight of Swords, is it's kind of a hasty card. If you move too quickly into thinking, oh, I need to be with this person, I don't care about any courtship dates or blah 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 phases and stuff like that, we really need to get married right now, we need to get engaged, blah blah blah, and then you might end up in a real sticky situation regarding the Devil in the future. So, but let's see what the French Tarot deck wants to finish off with. Commandant d'Épée. So this is like the King of Swords. So obviously, you have the Queen of Swords, and now you have the King of Swords in the future. So I feel like that you're pretty much going to do whatever it takes to combat this Devil situation. I mean, the thing is, let's say that you actually move a bit too hastily, over to somebody. They end up becoming the Devil or what have you, because they're a bit on the sneaky side. They're kind of forbidden fruit, maybe a bit too this, bit too that, what have you. But I do see you actually taking action as the King of Swords, because gender doesn't mean anything in my readings, but I do see something, transpiring, as long as you're the one that puts effort into, your current position, whatever it may be. Try to remain hopeful, try to, keep up the bright prospects, maybe have a bit of anticipation of positive effects in the end, maybe even wish upon a star in other ways as well. Always believe in yourself. But that's kind of what I have for today's reading for Aquariuses. So sad but true. I'm going to have to leave it at this for now. But if this reading resonated for Aquarius or Aquarius placements, please feel free to join and subscribe to my channel. I want to thank you all so much for joining me. Next week I'm going back to general readings again. So, but every so often I'm going to throw in a couple of Dracula readings, because what the human told me, how the Dracula movie came out early in Europe, like around July and stuff like that. So as the weeks and months are going by, the Dracula movie will probably show up sometime in different locations and stuff like that. Now, there are a couple of historical inaccuracies that I kind of want to mention about that, while I do my Dracula readings, and I will actually bring back a couple of historical stories based off of Dracula and as compared to Vlad the Impaler and stuff like that. But anyway, I want to thank you all so much for joining me in this very beautiful, calm evening. I want to wish you all the best of luck on where this journey may take you, but as per usual, take excellent good care of yourselves.